Have you ever wondered why Jeremy Corbyn always tends to take the side of the enemies of the West instead of defending freedom? Well, today we're going to talk about the situation with Iran and the Persian Gulf, and Jeremy Corbyn's reaction to it and why he does what he does. So as you may already know, Iran have been attacking tanker ships in the region recently, and Jeremy Corbyn has said that we need to find credible evidence, so he decided to defend Iran in this situation. Now we have evidence. In this leaked video footage, we can see the Iranians near the vessel trying to take out one of the mines that didn't go off. Obviously, if they leave it there, it will be even worse in terms of evidence. But it's good because now we can tell Jeremy Corbyn, this is our evidence. So following that, the international community, the UN, America, NATO, everyone did an investigation and found out that it was in fact Iran that did this. But we are yet to hear from Jeremy Corbyn to see if he's actually changed his mind on this issue. One of the other problems that we're facing right now is that Jeremy Corbyn says that we shouldn't keep pushing and poking Iran because it might escalate in terms of military. Well, we know that no one in the West, the UK, the US, especially the US under President Trump, who doesn't like wars, no one's going to be attacking Iran. Nothing's going to be happening just randomly. Besides, Iran already threatened the West that they would do something like this. Iran warned last month that if newly strengthened US sanctions made it impossible for it to sell its oil and export it through the Strait of Hormuz, it would make it impossible for others too, by blocking the vital stretch of water. Iran may be flexing its muscles to prove it can do just that, but it is unlikely to do so while maintaining plausible deniability, covering its track and fiercely protesting its innocence. What's really interesting in this situation is that Jeremy Corbyn is always the first person to deny any accusations against our enemies. When Salisbury happened with Russia, he said, well, we need credible evidence. When Syria happened with Assad, he said we need credible evidence. When Iran happened with the Iranian people on the streets and everyone else outside the region, he needs credible evidence. But whenever one of his friends from the Middle East tells him that Israel allegedly did something, of course they did it. We don't need evidence to know that Israel is doing bad things. It's the same with if you say something about America or the UK. Of course, we're always at fault. Now, Jeremy Corbyn has a special relationship when it comes to the enemies of the West, particularly Iran. As you may already know, he got paid £20,000 by Press TV, the Iranian state TV, to go on there and attack the West and the values of freedom and democracy.
Do you regret the thousands of pounds you took off the Iran state broadcaster when working for them?
I took part in some programs of Press TV. I stopped doing anything with Press TV when they dealt with the elections in Iran and the way in which they dealt with the opposition.
This is the organisation.
Can I finish,
but
please?
I want to tell you that this is the organisation who filmed a journalist who was working for us on Iranian issues, who was tortured and imprisoned, and then filmed by Press TV in the presence of his torturer, and that material was put out, and that was at the period when you were working there.
Or when he was asked by Andrew Marr why he attended the celebrations of the anniversary of the Iranian Revolution.
I was reading a poster about an event celebrating the Iranian Revolution at which you spoke.
What?
You spoke at a demonstration.
What?
Oh, he doesn't remember. It's okay, let's remind him.
We would like to congratulate you on the 35th anniversary of the revolution that was led by Imam Khomeini.
I thought it was a very interesting address, and it's one that I wish a much larger number of people in this country could have heard.
Let's try another one. When he was asked about the young girl in Iran who was fighting and protesting against the compulsory hijab on the streets of Tehran, and the fact that she disappeared and we haven't heard from her, when he was asked about this was the response he gave.
I was just thinking of that.
Yes.
You remember the woman who took her hijab off, and she was standing very bravely waving her hijab because she did not want to be told what to wear on the street, and she's now disappeared.
Listen.
So what's your message to the Iranians about that, or the Iranian government?
I want you to be part of the international community. I want you to respect human rights. I want you to be part of and respect the Human Rights Council of the United Nations, and we as a Labour government will not walk away from the European Convention on Human Rights.
So basically he dodged the question. And we already know that because it's been out there for years now, that he called our enemies friends.
And say that tomorrow evening it will be my pleasure and my honour to host an event in Parliament where our friends from Hezbollah will be speaking. I'd also invited friends from Hamas to come and speak as well. Unfortunately, the Israelis would not allow them to travel here, so it's going to be only friends from Hezbollah. So far as I'm concerned, that is absolutely the right function of using parliamentary facilities to invite people.
Now, what's the main reason behind Jeremy Corbyn always taking the side of our enemies? The whole point of this is to find out, why does he do what he does? Because it's been going on for decades and decades, and it's not just about Jeremy Corbyn. It's most people on the hard left that have been creating this mentality and this tendency for themselves over the years, and those especially that live in the West, that is a free society, a democratic society. But this is why. Don't be mistaken. Jeremy Corbyn doesn't necessarily prefer radical Islam or its culture compared to what we have in this country or in the West in general. The reason that the left do this is because all they care about is power. The socialist ideology focuses on centralization of power. And in order for them to be able to control people's lives and reorganize society as we know it, they need to be at the center of power. And due to our current system, the liberal democracy and the structure that we have, they can't do this. They have to bring it down. And at the moment, the people in the Middle East and certain other cultures, they are the enemies of the West. So people like Corbyn and the hard left, befriend them. The enemies of the enemy is my friend. Now, some of you may already know Imam Tousi, as known as the Imam of Peace. So this guy was born in Iran. He used to be quite radical. He then evolved and decided to escape from Iran, move to Australia. The Iranian government has been trying to track him down, tried to kill him a couple of times. His mission is now to reform the culture. And he said the exact same thing, but even better than the way I said it.
Largely because of the left and their agenda.
What is their agenda?
Their agenda is power. This is what it is. They don't care about any human being, any life. I have published a picture in my book of my uncle that was killed, burnt alive by ISIS.
Oh.
Why? Because...
Oh, I said wow.
No, and why? Because the left funded ISIS. They did. And they've always done. The global movement of the leftists, the elite left, not only Hillary and Obama, the elite left have always been supportive of rebels to bring down governments and put their own socialist, globalist movements.
That is true. That is 100% true.
They want power.
Right.
And whenever something happens, the left and the extremists, and we have to speak about their unity, the left and the extremists unite to bring down characters. And whenever there's chaos, unfortunately, us conservatives and the center-right never really take advantage of chaos.
I think it's very important for us to talk about these things and make these sort of videos, because we're having this weird cultural clash and this mentality that's been created with the younger generation. And the fact that they're being attracted to Corbynism and the whole Corbyn mentality without actually knowing what he and his supporters stand for. So make sure you follow these videos, and as usual, subscribe and click on the notification bell next to it, because a lot of times the videos don't actually show up on YouTube. And if you want to support this channel, we've created the Cabinet Club, and a lot of people have already joined. They're getting a lot of benefits, exclusive live Q&As, video chats, direct messaging with me, and we're going to have social events soon, kind of actual meetups in person. The link will be in the description. Have a look at it, and I'll see you tomorrow with a new video.